Hello everybody and welcome to my newest camera comparison. In today's video we will compare the iPhone 15 Pro Max to the Galaxy S24 Ultra from Samsung. Using the front-facing cameras for this one here now. See on the iPhone the colors are looking different, but looking a little bit more warm from what I can see on the screen. Using the front-facing cameras, we did not have any options on both phones to zoom in or zoom out. It's just not possible here. So you have this fixed angle and recording with the front-facing cameras. Let's start with some selfies here. I look a bit more pale on the S24 Ultra, but the colors are a bit more accurate here in my eyes, especially looking at the black colored parts of my clothes. These selfie portraits are good on both phones. The S24 Ultra decided to blur my arm in the foreground as well, while the iPhone keeps my whole body in focus. I think it comes down to personal taste, which you prefer here. Now using the portrait mode here with the main lens, and the grass is definitely greener on the other side. The colors are generally more saturated on the S24 Ultra. This is a comparison between the cinematic mode on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the portrait video mode on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. It is this mode where, just as a portrait photos, the background will be blurred, you'll be in the focus, giving you the cinematic feel. So who's doing it better, who's keeping me better in focus, which background looks better, easy judge, let me know in the comments. Now let's take a look at the cinematic and portrait video mode on both phones using the front-facing cameras. We can adjust something here on the S24 Ultra, the strength of the blur. You can see it live here. It has 7 levels. Then we have different kind of blur settings, like you have this effect here. It actually looks quite nice. Also it has a actually pretty good cutout here. And we have this black and white filter, which honestly is also doing a really good job. And this glitch effect. Yeah, overall I'm really impressed by this. Doing a very good job on the S24 Ultra. This is of course the strongest blur you can have now with this effect all tuned up to level 7. And it's doing a pretty good job at separating myself from the background. Really like it. Or this black and white option too. The iPhone doesn't offer anything like this, but the motion blur, the background blur, is also really good on the iPhone. Now going back to the normal setting here on the S24 Ultra as well. So, which one do you prefer? Cinematic video on the iPhone 15 Pro Max or portrait video on the S24 Ultra? Now some footage in 4K with 60 frames per second using the ultra wide lens on both phones. Now we will take a look at the zooming capabilities of both phones. Starting at the ultra wide, and both phones are capturing the scene totally different when we look at the colors. While we zoom in further, we can see that the iPhone 15 Pro Max stays more consistent when it comes to the colors. The iPhone can zoom up to 25x, while the S24 Ultra kept the so-called space zoom of 100x. Keep in mind that both of these phones use a 5x optical lens for these highly digitally zoomed in shots. While the iPhone just has a 5x optical lens for zooming, the S24 Ultra still has the 3x optical lens as well, just like last year's model. If you enjoyed this camera comparison so far, a sub to the channel would be really great. So now I'm recording in 4K with 30 frames per second. I want to show to you the different zoom lengths which we have available on both phones. Starting with the ultra wide on both now, going to 1x. Then in the next up we have 2x on the iPhone and 2x here as well. The S24 Ultra. The S24 Ultra has more options visible on the screen where you can just click to get there, like the 3x here. For this I have to manually zoom on the iPhone to go to 3x. Then the next one would be 5x, which is done with a telelens, the new one on the S24 Ultra, and then also on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It also got the new telelens. So those are both done with a 5x telelens. The S24 Ultra doesn't have a 10x lens anymore. Of course, you can still zoom in digitally to 10x. Let's do this as well on the iPhone. And hit the sweet spot here. So both now on 10x here. The image appears to be sharper on the S24 Ultra, judging by what I can see on the screen. Let's check what else we can do zooming wise. So 20x is the maximum on the S24 Ultra, and iPhone goes to 15x. Now a dedicated look at the 5x telelenses of both phones. I think at day the quality is actually very close here. Of course, we can use this lens also while using the portrait mode. I honestly prefer the S24 Ultra here. And of course, we can also film with that lens. So let's take a look at these ducks. The iPhone has the edge here for me, since the colors are more accurate. Now let's step out in the dark and compare both phones at night. Keep in mind that the iPhone doesn't have a dedicated night mode, but I will let you know when it kicked in automatically. I'm recording now in 4K with 30 frames per second. It is now completely dark outside here. on the iPhone I really can't make out any features on my face. Looking at the screens here, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra at least lets me see my face, but the picture looks very noisy in comparison. This is of course using the front-facing cameras on both phones. I'm walking towards the light source. Those lights, they are an orange color, so don't be surprised to see me with an orange hue. Here they are. Now I can see, of course, also my face on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. On the screen still the S24 Ultra looks way more noisy. And now with the front-facing cameras with 60 frames per second, both shooting in 4K. Still in this area where the light bulbs are on here, so the iPhone also shows my face. The image on the S24 Ultra again is brighter and more noisy. Some more footage in 4K and 30 frames per second. I'm gonna flip the phone now. So now using the main lenses. Obviously I can't see myself filming like this. Again, we have light sources here. Like I'm walking under the light pole here again. Of course, it should be a much better picture than what we got on the video taken with front-facing cameras before. At night, we can actually witness the same behavior as we did at day. Both pictures are telling a different story when it comes to the colors. The Samsung just creates a way more vibrant picture, which might be prettier for social media, but it also is further away from how it really looked like. Using the main lenses here to capture me, both are having a hard time to really take a good picture. This area isn't also that well lit, so keep it in mind. Since the S24 Ultra has a dedicated night mode, I sometimes use the standard mode where it, just like the iPhone, automatically activates the night mode when it feels the need. This portrait clearly goes to the iPhone. A selfie at night with the screen used as a flash resulted in pictures you really don't want to share around. While the iPhone took a sharper picture of my face, the amount of noise it added around me is actually horrifying. This picture of me with a night mode looks generally fine on both phones, but taking a closer look reveals that the iPhone just captured more details. This is definitely also due to the fact that the iPhone 15 Pro Max uses a 48 megapixel lens. Now let's take a look at some ultra wide shots at night. I generally like the ultra wide shots of the S24 Ultra a bit more, even the colors seem to be more accurate. Time to compare the zooming at night. At 3x, the S24 Ultra has obviously the clear edge, but the iPhone shows one other big issue here. It has a huge lens flare issue, which really can ruin pictures taken at night sometimes. Here we will zoom in again using the dedicated night mode on the S24 Ultra. At 3x, the S24 again outclasses the iPhone, and then for some reason, the iPhone dedicated it didn't need to activate its night mode. The result is a clear win for the Samsung here. For these shots, the iPhone activated the night mode throughout. The colors are too inconsistent on the S24, which is also apparent while zooming during video. I check out one time how well it will zoom at night. First of all, we can go on the ultra wide on both phones here. Well, let's start with Samsung, where we go to 1x, 3x, 5x, 10x, and then up to 20x, which is the maximum. And on the iPhone we are the ultra wide. We're going to the 1x, 2x, 5x, and the maximum, which is 15x. The lens switching was at least smoother on the iPhone. Like way smoother. For example, when both are on the ultra wide, and then we jump to 3x, for example, or 2x, 5x, here on 5x, going back to ultra wide, here back to ultra wide. There's a much bigger difference in switching on the iPhone than on the S24 Ultra, just as it was already on the S23 Ultra. And now we will test out the 5x telelens at night a bit more. On this light tower, the S24 Ultra has a better shot in my opinion. Here again we have an example of the iPhone's issues with light sources. This shot here goes clearly to the iPhone. No idea what happened here on the S24 Ultra. Other than this, the S24 Ultra is capturing more light generally, resulting in brighter and at times also more detailed pictures. Here the Samsung is brighter, but the iPhone has a sharper and more detailed picture. Here both phones have kind of an issue with the light side, but the S24 is struggling clearly less. And once again, the iPhone has a hard time with the lamp overexposing the light and eliminating the details around the number 4 here. I gave the portrait mode a go with a 5x telelens and the iPhone took a picture which could easily be mistaken with a portrait shot of a decade-old phone. And this concludes my comparison between the S24 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Please let me know in the comments which phone for you took the better pictures and videos in this comparison. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.